So today we're going to answer the question, should you buy a 2026 Honda CRV EX, or instead jump up a couple trim levels to a hybrid, or maybe switch over to something like a Toyota RAV4, a Subaru Forester, or maybe a Hyundai Tucson? Let's hop on in and figure that out. All right, guys, so we're ready to start then at the front of the car, so let's talk about that. You are looking at a 1.5-liter turbo engine putting out 190 horsepower. This is then running to a CVT and then out to front-wheel drive. Now, I want to throw a horsepower comparison up so you can see how does the 190 horsepower coming out of the 1.5-liter turbo stack up against other makes and models out there in the world. While that's up, I'll just remind you, this is what's in the non-hybrid version. If you jumped up to a hybrid model, like the trim above it, you would then be looking at a 2-liter engine putting out 204 horsepower. If you're shopping strictly in the Honda family, I do want to mention a couple things. If you went to the smaller version, the HRV, you'd be looking at roughly 158 horsepower. So it is a significant drop-off. Some of the reviews will say that thing is somewhat underpowered, and I would partially agree. Now, the other option would be, what if I go up to like a Passport or a Pilot? Well, the Pilot, you're looking at 285 horsepower, so it's a significant jump of, what is that, like 95 horsepower. All right, guys, so here I am down on the ground, and there's a couple reasons I'm down here. The first is I wanted to give you an opportunity to see what the 18-inch alloy wheel that comes on the EX looks like. Understand that depending on the trim of the vehicle you pick, it's going to be either silver, it could be black, it could be shark gray, and it may be a different size. But while we're down here, I also want to talk to you about MPGs. In the two-wheel drive version, you're going to get 28 in the city and 33 on the highway. It's a respectable amount, so let's throw some up on the screen so you can see how does that stack up against some of the other makes and models out there in the world. While that's up, I'll just remind you, if you jumped over to its hybrid sister, you could get 43 in the city and 36 on the highway. So if you're teetering, that might be what pushes you to spend a little bit more money and jump up a trim. Now, if MPGs is important to you, then I want to talk to you about gas tank size, because that's going to play a part. Is how often am I going to be filling up my gas tank? All CRV trims, whether it's a non-hybrid or hybrid, come with a 14-gallon gas tank. So just something to keep in mind if you're shopping against either other CRVs or other makes and models out there in the world. All right, guys, so in the front of this vehicle, you've got 41.3 inches of leg space. It's actually very usable. Let me show you. I am 250 pounds and I'm roughly 6 foot tall, and I have still got easily probably 7-8 inches of extra leg space in this vehicle. So if you're a bigger guy, bigger gal, you shouldn't have any issues being in the front of this vehicle. While we're here though, I want to throw a comparison up so you can see how does the 41.3 inches stack up against other makes and models out in the world. I want to say the Subaru Forester wins this one with 43.3 inches of leg space. While we're in the front though, I'll throw up some comparisons so you can see how does the HRV and maybe the Passport and the Pilot stack up as far as front row leg space as well. All right, guys, so in the rear of this vehicle, you got 41 inches of leg space, so just a little bit less than the front. So I want to show you, if you're sitting behind a 6-footer, right? That's what I had the seat set up for me. I've still got quite a bit of space to use as far as sitting in the back. So I'm not scrunched, I don't got to put my legs to an angle or anything like that. Now, I want to throw a comparison up so you can see how does the 41 inches in the rear of this vehicle stack up against other makes and models out in the world. I want to say the Hyundai Tucson wins this one with roughly 41.3 inches of leg space. While we're here, I also want to do one other comparison. If you're kind of shopping in the Honda family and you're wondering, well, what about the HRV or the Passport or the Pilot? I'm going to throw up all of their rear leg space dimensions as well, so you can understand how do they stack up. I'm back on the ground because I think I just like getting dirty, but not really. I want to talk to you about two different things. The first is ground clearance. So if you're in the two-wheel drive model of this car, you get 7.8 inches of ground clearance. If you go to the all-wheel drive, you get 8.2, so a little bit more. I want to throw a comparison up so you can see how does the 7.8 on this vehicle stack up against other makes and models out in the world. Additionally, while we're here, what do you think of the front of this thing? Does it look like it's smiling, grimacing, making a weird face? I don't know, sometimes I look at vehicles and they look super weird to me. You let me know. So if you're shopping CRVs or just compact SUVs in general, chances are cargo space is going to be important to you. So let's talk about that for a second. I've already opened the cargo space here, but I wanted to point out a couple things. One, it's not powered on the EX. Kind of a letdown. This one, just make them all powered. So if you want that powered, you're going to have to jump up trim levels. Understand it depends on the trim level as far as having a powered tailgate. But when we get in here, a couple things I'll point out. One, every single version comes with carpeted floor mats. That's not always the case for other manufacturers, just something to keep in mind. But while we're in here, you've got 39.3 cubic feet of space in this vehicle. Now understand, if you went to the very top end model, you actually get a little bit less. But for the most part, if you're in this one, the one above it, whatever, you're all going to be fine. You get the 39.3. Now, in the back of this thing, a couple things I want to point out. One, this vehicle has a spare. If you jumped into a hybrid, it does not offer a spare. It offers a tire repair kit and an inflator. Additionally, back here, I want to point out you got your jack, your accessories, and this little guy. Not what this is for at all, but I want to explain what this is for. This is actually designed to be able to hold this open. If you ever ran out of gas, this has a double valve system. So there's one valve here and then one deeper down in. If you didn't have a gas can, you would need a way to be able to hold this open to pour gas down into the vehicle. So this can be very important. If you like this tip or trick, you should check out my tips and tricks videos. I got about 15, 16 different tips and tricks on the Honda CR-V. A lot of things that most owners don't know anything about. I mentioned earlier that you've got 39.3 cubic feet of cargo space in the back of this thing. So I want to throw a comparison so you can see how does that 39.3 cubic feet stack up against other makes and models out there in the world. I want to say that the CR-V is winning as far as this category goes. All right, guys, so let's talk about full cargo space. In the back of this thing, if you fold down this second row, you've got 76.5 cubic feet of cargo space. It's actually quite a bit. I can lay straight in this vehicle. The only thing I don't like about this is a few years ago, they changed this. Now you've got this hump right here. It used to be almost 100% flat, and I loved it for carb camping. So now, if you're gonna buy this car, just keep in mind that you may need to put down some foam or build some sort of platform to level this out. But while we're here, I want to throw up a comparison so you can see how does the 76.5 cubic feet in this vehicle stack up against other makes and models out in the world. I want to say the Hyundai Tucson wins this one with 80.3 cubic feet. All right, so really quickly, there's a couple things I want to talk about because these are probably the most important things I noticed when selling cars. And that's one, people don't really understand trim levels and what you get. So I want to talk to you about that for a second. Let's just talk about the trim levels. In this vehicle, there's the LX base model, non-hybrid, EX, what we're in, non-hybrid. Above this, Sport Hybrid, first available hybrid. Above that, EXL, not a hybrid. Above that, you've got your Trail Sport Hybrid. Then above that, you've got a Sport L Hybrid. And then above that, you've got your Sport Touring Hybrid. All the bells, all the whistles. So there are a lot of different trims to consider when shopping for this. Now, the second part to this is two things. One, hey, what's different from a 25 to a 26? Well, in the 26, you now get a couple things standard. A 9-inch touchscreen may be important to you. If you jump back trims, sometimes if you go to the baser models, you get a smaller, a touchscreen, a 7-inch. Second two parts of this is all vehicles now come with wireless CarPlay. That can be important to some people. So something to keep in mind, in the 26, all of them get wireless CarPlay. The third thing that changed in 26 is all of them get a wireless phone charger. So if some of these connectivity pieces are important to you, it might make sense to jump up to the 26 versus a 25 or a 24. We're in an EX right now. If I'm in the EX and I'm saying, hey, I'm thinking about trying to save some money. If I drop down to the LX, the base model, two things. One, how much money is that going to save me? But two, what is that list of items that I'm going to give up by dropping down to that LX? So I'm going to throw that up on the screen. After you've taken a look at that, I want to go the other way. We're in this EX. If we said, hey, I'm thinking about going up to the Sport Hybrid, I want to know two things. One, how much extra money would that cost me to do that? And then two, what's the additional list of items I'm going to get by jumping up? We already know you're going to get a hybrid, so you're going to get that 43 in the city and 36 on the highway, but what else comes with spending some additional money? The first thing I want to do is give you an opportunity to see what the steering wheel looks like. It's not super cluttered. There's not so many buttons that it's like, what is going on this thing? On the left side controls the digital display you see in the background. Now, I will mention, if you jump up trim levels, you can get a full digital display. However, this one is digital on one side and analog on the other. But for the sake of that, to get your home button, you can scroll here. To scroll through all the different things, you can do this. To jump tracks, change your volume, and use your voice command. Voice command can be used for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, along with just the standard CRV Bluetooth settings, right? So that's on this side. On the other side, you have some of your safety features. Now, I want to talk to you about safety real quick because the car does offer some cool features. So let's talk about that. So I'm going to come down here and I want to go to your safety settings. And that way we can talk about the Honda Sensing Suite. So on this vehicle, these are going to be standard features. You have got road departure mitigation. Now, what road departure mitigation is it's designed to use radar and a camera up in the grill and up by the rearview mirror to detect the lines on the road. If you start to veer off the shoulder of the road, the car can give you an audible alert and it can vibrate the wheel to say, hey, wake up, pay attention. Now, the next feature you have available to you is blind spot information system. At this point, I think we're all familiar with how that works. Over in your mirror, you have an indicator that will light up if someone's in your blind spot. Now, if you still decide to start to get over, it can give you an audible alert to let you know, hey, there is someone there. The next feature you have available to you is collision mitigation braking. Now, this uses the radar down in the grille, it's behind the Honda logo, to bounce it off cars in front of you. So if a car in front of you starts slowing down dramatically and it's looking like you're going to hit them, it can actually give you an audible alert, flash in the dash, and then apply the brakes to help prevent you from rear-ending that car. On the right side of the steering wheel, there are two different controls I want to talk to you about related to safety. The first is going to be your cruise control. This car has adaptive cruise control. So when I get to the speed I want, I would press this button and it would set this. You'll see the same indicator appear up there in the dash. Now, once I've done that, I can use this button down here. It's got boxes on it. When I do, I'm going to select the amount of boxes I want. What that's going to determine is the space that's going to keep between me and the car in front of me. The way it's doing that is it's using that radar to detect the car in front of you. So if they're going 65 and they drop down to 55, it'll keep whatever designated spacing that you pick. And then when you get out from behind them or they speed back up, it'll take you back up to the speed that you want. Now, if you just want to go to classic cruise, you can actually press the button with the bars on it and it'll flip over to just the standard cruise control, or you can hit it and hold it again and it'll flip back to adaptive cruise control. Now, the last feature I want to talk to you about is lane keep assist. That's right here. You're going to see a steering wheel with some lines around it. If I press that, you're going to see that same indication come up in the dash. What that's going to do is it's going to use that camera that's up by the rear view mirror to detect the lines on the road. Same like road departure mitigation. If I start to veer a little bit to the left or the right, and let's say I'm in a center lane, it can actually correct for me and keep me centered in that lane. Now, if you need to overpower it, you absolutely can, so don't worry about that. You can override the system. And just remember, all of these features you can turn on and off, and you can affect the sensitivities to all of them. So let's talk about the touchscreen. I mentioned it earlier. Every single trim is going to come with a 9-inch touchscreen now. It also has wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. So I've connected up with my Pixel 10 XL. Now, for the sake of this, I want to talk to you about two different things. One, we'll talk about this in a second, but I want to jump back to just the main screen. This is what it looks like. They have really dumbed down this. If you look back like a generation, man, it offered so much in the touchscreen not using Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and then more with it. Now, what they've done is they've made it to where really they're hoping you will use Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, and that's it. Because if not, this is what you get. It's a very gradient, just minimal display. So this is one of the few things that I don't really like that they've done. They've taken away a lot of the available features like compasses and backgrounds and customization that you could do to the screen. Now, this is it. This is what you get. Now, for most of you, that's probably not going to matter because you're going to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So let's be honest, maybe it doesn't matter. But let's talk about that for a second. If you're using these things, I want to point out a couple things, and then I'll tell you all of these things are in my tips and tricks. The first is just, did you know that you can rearrange the order to these things? Understand there are all kinds of things that you can do here. If I come in here and I go to my settings, I can actually change that display. So if I want to scroll down, I can go to change layout and flip it. And that way now, if I flip it to media closer to me, when I jump out of this screen and go back to the home screen, it'll flip it to where my media is over here and my maps over there. A lot of other things you can do, you can set up like custom actions. If you want it to take you like to a set place, hey, the nearest Starbucks, the nearest Taco Bell, the nearest library, you can do that. Or if you have people that you call regularly, you can tap it and it'll immediately call them. This way you're not dependent on the voice commands if you have the windows down, or if you just find that the voice command doesn't pick up your voice that well. I'm one of those people that I slur a lot when I talk, and I talk really fast, and it just doesn't work well for me. These are ways you can avoid that. If you want to learn how to set these up and more, check out my tips and tricks videos. It'll be at the end of this video, and I'll throw a link in the description of this video. All right, so I want to quickly show you an alternative to using just the standard touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You're going to notice that my screen looks completely different right now. And if I jump into my apps, you're going to start to notice that, hey, he's got some different stuff. He's got Chrome. He's got the APK installer. I've got the Play Store. I've got YouTube, YouTube Music. I've got Prime Video. I've got Netflix. I can add Kodi. I can add Facebook. Any app that I want. So how does this work? What I'm using is made by Carling Kit. This is the CPC 200T box. This thing is really cool. Essentially what it does is turn your head unit into a tablet, right? It essentially unlocks it for you. Now, how does it work? Let me explain it. You're gonna plug the unit into the USB, just like you would if this was wired CarPlay. You then gotta provide the unit data. I'm using my phone as a hotspot. If not, you could get a SIM card for it if you wanted. Now, once you've done that, you have access to all the apps. Now, there's two really important things here that I like to point out. One, you can stream services, whether you're sitting still or driving. Now, be safe about this, but understand if you're taking a long road trip, how cool is it that you could pull up a show and be able to watch it or listen to it or enjoy it or allow your kids to watch it while you're taking, a 5, 6, 7 hour drive. So this is really cool. And the latency is really good about this thing. I've driven around using this plenty and I don't run into issues. So that's the other consideration, right? Now, the second part to this that I really like is related to apps that you already have with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So I'm gonna talk about Spotify for a second. Let's jump into Michelle Branch. Shout out to my elder emos. Now, what's cool about this is in this app, it gives you the full version, like if you were opening it up on your phone or your laptop. And what I mean by that is you can see all of their popular songs, you can see their discography, you can see any kind of related featured, playlists, things like that, all of this info. I find that when you're using like the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto version, it limits this. Additionally, you can type in your searches. So if you're like me and you drive with the windows down a lot, or maybe you have a Jeep and drive with the doors off, or it just doesn't pick up your voice that well, you can type in a search anytime that you want, and you can do that on every single app. Now, that may sound counterintuitive for some people, but for me, it's really helpful. So those are the two things that I really like about this. Now, will it do other things like split the screen and do a lot of other things? Yes, but just for these two things alone, I really like it. If it's something you're interested in, understand this is something you would have to buy. So I will throw up something on the screen so you can see where it looks like on the website and of course the cost. And then I am an affiliate, so if you want to take advantage of it, I can save you a little bit of money if you decided to buy one. So should you buy a CRV? It's a great question. I would encourage you to go get behind the wheel of one and drive one. Figure out if you like it. Through all the comparisons that I went through today, I think you'll notice that none of them are really big gaps between vehicles. We're talking about partials, pieces of inches, right? We're talking about a couple horsepower, maybe a mile per gallon here or there. So the race in the compact SUV market is tight. Now, what I will tell you is the CRV is in the top 3 selling compact SUVs. Number 1 right now, I believe, is the RAV4. Number 2 is the CRV, and number 3 is the Hyundai Tucson. So if you're going by popular demand, this would be a very good vehicle to own. Outside of that, I want to ask you a couple favors. 1, I hope you'll press the like button because you like the way I'm presenting the content. 2, I hope you'll leave a comment. If you like seeing reviews on cool stuff like this, or tips and tricks videos or things like that, let me know. If there's something you wish I would add to this video, I would love to know what that is. Or if you just want to say good job, pat me on the back and give me a little bit of love, I could use it. 3, I hope you subscribe to the channel so like I said, when I produce content, you'll receive it. And then 4, I hope you share the video. If you've got some friends that are considering a new vehicle or maybe shopping pre-owned and looking at Hondas, I hope you'll share this video with them so it'll help them make a better educated decision. So, like, comment, subscribe, all the things. Later, guys!